The Group of 20, or G20, is more than just another international meeting. It is, in essence, the world's premier forum for economic cooperation. Imagine a room where leaders representing about 85% of the global economy, more than 75% of international trade, and two-thirds of the world's population gather to chart a course for our shared future. This is the G20. Born from the ashes of the 1997 Asian financial crisis, it was initially a meeting of finance ministers and central bank governors. However, the 2008 global financial meltdown elevated its status, transforming it into a leaders' summit. Its significance lies in its unique composition, bringing established powers and rising economies to the same table. The guest list for this exclusive gathering is a reflection of our modern multipolar world. It includes leaders from 19 countries, ranging from the United States and China to India, Brazil, and South Africa, plus the European Union, and more recently the African Union. This diversity is the G20's greatest strength and at times its most profound challenge. Unlike older, more homogeneous groups, the G20 forces dialogue between nations with vastly different political systems, economic models, and historical grievances. The presence of both developed and developing nations ensures that conversations are not one-sided, providing a platform where the concerns of the global South can be heard alongside the priorities of the West. It is a delicate balancing act of power and diplomacy. What do these powerful individuals discuss behind closed doors? Their agenda is as vast and complex as the world itself. While its core mission remains focused on global economic stability and sustainable growth, the G20 has expanded its scope to tackle the most pressing issues of our time. Climate change, with its existential threat to our planet, is a perennial topic. So too is the fight against economic inequality, the digital transformation of our societies, and the urgent need for global health security, a lesson learned painfully during the COVID-19 pandemic. The summit serves as a critical pressure valve for geopolitical tensions, offering a rare opportunity for direct, face-to-face conversations between rival leaders. The importance of this forum cannot be overstated, especially in an era of growing fragmentation. It operates on the principle of consensus, which means that decisions, while not legally binding, carry immense political weight. When G20 leaders agree on a course of action, they send a powerful signal to international markets, other nations, and global institutions like the World Bank and the International Monetary Fund. This collective endorsement can unlock financial resources, spark policy changes back home, and build the momentum needed for broader international agreements. In a world fraught with challenges that respect no borders, the G20 remains a vital, if imperfect, mechanism for steering the global ship. Looking back, the G20 has a track record of producing tangible results, often forged in moments of crisis. Its most celebrated achievement came in 2008 and 2009, when leaders united to confront the global financial crisis. They coordinated stimulus packages, strengthened financial regulations, and rejected protectionist measures, actions widely credited with preventing a second Great Depression. This moment demonstrated the G20's potential as a rapid response crisis committee for the world economy. It established a precedent for collective action, proving that when the world's largest economies work in concert, they can pull the global system back from the brink of collapse and restore a fragile sense of confidence. The G20 has also been a crucial incubator for landmark environmental agreements. The 2015 Paris Agreement on Climate Change, a historic pact to limit global warming, received a significant boost from G20 deliberations. By bringing major emitters like the United States and China to the table, the summit helped build the political consensus necessary for the deal to be finalized. Leaders used the G20 platform to signal their commitments and encourage others to follow suit, creating a domino effect that culminated in the Paris Accord. While enforcement remains a challenge, the G20's role in shepherding the agreement into existence is an undeniable part of its legacy, showcasing its power to broker deals beyond purely economic matters. Beyond crisis management and climate action, the G20 has served as a critical venue for de-escalating trade conflicts. During a period of intense economic rivalry between the United States and China, G20 summits provided a neutral ground for leaders to meet and negotiate. These face-to-face talks often resulted in a trade truce, temporarily halting the imposition of new tariffs and opening a window for further negotiation. While these truces did not resolve the underlying disputes, They provided much-needed stability to global markets and prevented a full-blown trade war. These moments highlighted the G20's indispensable diplomatic function as a space where even the fiercest adversaries can choose dialogue over confrontation. The forum's relevance was once again proven during the COVID-19 pandemic. As the world grappled with an unprecedented health and economic crisis, G20 leaders convened virtually to coordinate their response. They pledged to share information, strengthen health systems, and mobilize trillions of dollars to support workers, businesses, and vulnerable economies. They also backed initiatives like the COVAX facility, aimed at ensuring equitable access to vaccines. Although the follow-through was imperfect and marked by vaccine nationalism, the initial G20 commitments helped lay the groundwork for a global response, reaffirming its role as the essential steering committee for navigating worldwide emergencies. Despite its past successes, the G20 is increasingly a stage for profound divisions that mirror the fault lines of our world. The recent 2024 summit in Rio de Janeiro was a case in point, where unity proved elusive. A major point of contention was the global response to hunger. Brazilian President Lula da Silva championed a new global alliance against hunger and poverty, passionately arguing that it is unacceptable for people to starve in a world producing immense quantities of food. While the initiative gained broad support, it also faced ideological pushback. Argentina's President Javier Milei, for instance, openly criticized government-led anti-hunger efforts, advocating instead for free market solutions and economic growth as the primary remedies. Climate finance remains another deep and persistent source of disagreement. The fundamental debate revolves around who should pay for the transition to a green economy. At the COP29 climate talks that preceded the Rio summit, developing nations argued they needed $1.3 trillion annually to adapt and mitigate climate change, a figure far greater than the $300 billion per year that developed countries pledged. This tension spilled over into the G20, where emerging economies like China have resisted calls to contribute to global climate funds, preferring bilateral aid. The anticipated withdrawal of the United States from the Paris Agreement under a new administration further complicates matters, threatening to unravel years of fragile progress. Geopolitical conflicts also cast a long shadow over the proceedings, making consensus on even basic statements incredibly difficult. The war in Ukraine has repeatedly fractured the group, with countries like China, India, and Brazil refraining from the strong condemnations issued by Western nations. Similarly, the conflict in Gaza created a tense backdrop for the Rio summit, with protests on the streets and diplomatic friction between leaders. These political rifts poison the atmosphere needed for cooperation, as leaders find it difficult to collaborate on economic or environmental issues, while their countries are indirectly or directly at odds on the battlefield. The G20 is not immune to the hard realities of global power politics. These divisions reveal a deeper philosophical clash about the future of global governance. On one side are leaders who believe in multilateralism, collective action, and shared responsibility to tackle global problems like poverty and climate change. On the other side is a rising tide of nationalism and skepticism, championed by figures who prioritize national sovereignty, deregulation, and economic self-interest above all else. This ideological struggle was on full display in Rio, with debates over gender equality, sustainable development goals, and taxes on the super-rich. The G20 has become the central arena where these competing worldviews collide, and the outcome of this struggle will shape the 21st century. Even amidst stark divisions, G20 summits continue to produce moments of tangible impact that ripple across the globe. A standout achievement from the recent Rio summit was the formal launch of the Global Alliance Against Hunger and Poverty. Backed by over 80 countries and major philanthropic organizations, this Brazilian-led initiative aims to create a practical framework for raising funds and sharing effective policies to eradicate hunger. This alliance is a powerful example of how a host nation can use the G20 platform to galvanize support for a critical cause, moving beyond mere rhetoric to establish a concrete mechanism for change. It demonstrates that even in a fractured world, progress is possible when leadership is focused and determined. As South Africa prepares to host the 2025 summit in Johannesburg under the theme Solidarity, Equality, Sustainability, the focus will shift once again. The agenda is set to prioritize issues crucial to the African continent and the broader global south. including debt sustainability for low-income countries, financing a just energy transition, and managing the world's supply of critical minerals. This shift underscores the G20's evolving nature and its capacity to spotlight different regional priorities each year. The success of the Johannesburg Summit will depend on whether the world's wealthiest nations can listen to and act on the concerns of their less developed partners, turning the theme of solidarity into meaningful action. Ultimately, the G20 forces us to confront a simple but profound truth: the world's most formidable challenges do not carry passports. A pandemic that begins in one city can shut down the entire globe. Carbon emissions from one continent warm the entire planet. A financial crisis that starts on one street can impoverish millions worldwide. No single nation, no matter how powerful, can solve these problems alone. The G20, for all its flaws and heated debates, remains one of the few places where the leaders with the capacity to make a difference are all in the same room. It is a forum built on the reluctant recognition of our shared destiny. Therefore, the ongoing quest for cooperation within the G20 is not an abstract diplomatic exercise, it is a vital necessity for our collective survival and prosperity. The debates may be fierce and the final communiques may be watered down, but the process of dialogue itself is invaluable. It keeps channels of communication open, builds personal relationships between leaders, and lays the groundwork for future breakthroughs. In an increasingly turbulent and unpredictable world, the G20's imperfect pursuit of collective action is more important than ever. It is a testament to the enduring hope that, through solidarity, we can build a more equal and sustainable future for all.